I had somebody request a video on how to install the sights from the Glocks. So in this video we're going to show how to remove the front and rear sight and install new front and rear sights. Alright, now before we get into the installation of this video, let's talk about sights a little bit. Personally, I've never been into sights that much. You've only really had experience with three types of sights. That would be the original stock sight, something like this. As you see there, I put a little bit of a red nail polish on there to distinguish my front sight. It's something I like to do. Kind of like a poor man's fiber optic front sight, if you will. Next sight I've had was a high vis, just a cheap little fiber optic high vis, something like this. Now that's nice, but the only thing about those is your light pipe, that little fiber optic tube you've seen, tends to break every once in a while. It's not supported in any way, and if you hit it right, it'll break pretty easily. Now, the new one I just bought a little bit ago is the high vis overmolded. That's good because it's basically the same thing, but the fiber optic tube itself is coated in like a plastic. It's overmolded, so it's real strong. That's what I have on this right now. It's real sturdy. Alright, let's talk a little bit about different types of sides of the sight. What I mean by this is a nice big sight like a high vis that I got on now. It's good, it's big, it's great for close-up shooting, but once you got to reach a little bit past, 10, 15, maybe 20 yards, it's hard to get pinpoint accuracy because your sight's so big. You don't, when you look through your, the notches in your rear sight to try to line up your front sight, there's really not much light between to center your target real good. Now I'll show you what I mean through a few pictures. But what I'm going to be installing on this one is a front Savigny sight and a stock rear sight. My Savigny was actually given to me by one of my shooting buddies that I shoot with. Thanks, Jeff. And so I'm going to install that, and I'm also going to try to rig up a stock rear sight to fit the Savigny. Now I could go buy a real Savigny rear sight to make it so it's perfectly level. But quite frankly, I don't got the cash for it right now, so I'm going to try to rig up a rear one. Only thing about the Savigny sight I'm installing is it is much higher, and if I use the stock rear sight I got on now, my shots would be a lot low. So what I'm going to have to do is install a bigger rear sight, which I got a couple of them here. I'm going to try them out and see what they work. But that should raise my shot up and hopefully keep level. If it don't work, I end up buying just a real Savigny rear sight. But personally, I'm just kind of trying something out here. Alright, first we're going to go ahead and do our normal field strip. Go ahead and unload the firearm. Make sure it's empty. Dry fire up. Break it down like you normally would. Alright, take out this front stock sight. It's very simple. All you need is a pair of pliers. Just pull it right off. One thing to note, once you remove this front sight, you can't reuse it. The tabs will not bend back the other way. The rear sight you can reuse, but the front sight you can't. Alright, now at this point you would take and put it on some kind of vise. Personally, I don't have a vise, so I'm going to do the broke man's version of a vise. Use a piece of wood on each side, screwed to my work table here. This way I can drift out this rear sight. Alright, as you can see, I basically took two pieces of wood, stuck them in this way. It's basically like a poor man's vise. If you do use a vise, note, don't squeeze it too hard because you can squeeze in the rails a little bit on each side. So don't do that. In order to get it out, it's real simple. The rear sight, simply take some kind of punch. In this case, I'm just using a small Phillips head screwdriver. I'm going to stick it on the edge right here and then use my hammer to simply tap it out. Take your time with it, do it nice and gentle. Okay, once you got that sight out, go ahead and set it aside. You might want to reuse that later. At this point, what I'm going to do, since I got this clamp set up, I'm going to go ahead and install the rear sight that I'm going to use. And to basically install the rear sight, it's as simple as taking the old one out. You simply get it where you want it and dovetail it in, and go ahead and drive it. Make sure you got, for instance, this is the stock sight, so I want to make sure I haven't got these white lines, my reference lines, facing the rear sight. And simply drift it in. I'm going to go ahead and take my hammer and hit it softly until I get it seated to the point where I have to use that punch to seat it the rest of the way. Alright, there you go. Now one thing to note, when you do this, just take your time with it. Don't bang it hard. You don't want to tear up that sight as much as you can. You'll get a couple little mar finishes on it if you're just using normal steel. A lot of people like to use the soft brass tool, soft brass hammer, stuff that softens the hit. But just take your time with it, go slow. You do it with just a normal flathead screwdriver or Phillips head screwdriver, and you just do it with a normal hammer. You don't got to worry about no fancy tools. Just take your time. Alright, once we got that part done, now we're going to install the front sight. Now in this case I'm using a Savigny front sight, but these all install the front sights for the Glock pretty much the same. And that is, you put them on top and they come with this itty bitty old flat screw here, which you will install, wrenching it down, and then we'll tighten it down. Only thing you really need for this is a little bit of Loctite for the threads. You want to make sure you Loctite your front sight. You don't want it jiggling loose because it is a screw, you know, after all. And some kind of small wrench that will fit this small little bolt head, if you want to call it. And this is just one I rigged up personally. It was a little bit too big, so I ground it down on each side. But you can buy front sight little wrenches at pretty much all gun stores. That they're pretty universal for the front sight and nut. So that's all you really need is Loctite and just that little wrench to install it. And simple as that.